Good morning, all. Today, we will discuss the continuation of last class topic. That is, we were discussing about the physical layer. So, in the physical layer, there are many parameters in which the important one is the energy usage profile. So, in the energy usage, we will be discussing about the power budget of the energy which are used in various parts of the transceiver. Okay, it can be in the transmitter, it can be at the channel. Okay, it can, we need to calculate the loss at the channel also, as well as it can be at the receiver. Now, uh, as we have discussed in a previous class, in the transceiver, the much of the energy is uh, consumed or wasted, okay, at the transmitter itself, compared to the energy radiated. Okay, so why we call radiated, because we are concentrating on wireless communication, and okay, finally we will scale it down to wireless sensor networks. So when we talk about wireless, the signal have to be radiated. So in the radiated energy, most of the energy is dissipated as heat at the antenna device, so that we need to take care. So transceiver working at frequencies beyond 1 gigahertz, it takes 10 to 100 milliwatt of power to radiate 1 milliwatt. See the ratio over there. To radiate 1 milliwatt, we need to spend around 10 to 100 milliwatt of power. Okay, so this is the ratio. So from here only we are calculating the efficiency, and based on that, trade off should be done, okay, to while selecting the signal. So many practical transmitter designs have efficiencies below 10%. Okay, now the next key observation is, for small transmit powers, the transmit and receive modes consume more or less same power. Okay, if a transmit power, if you're intending to transmit it very less power. Okay, next, see this startup time, sleep mode, that we will discuss in the next in detail when we come across. Next, to how to balance between the energies, okay, energy consumed as well as energy radiated. Now, for that, you have to go for a proper, appropriate modulation scheme. Okay, now what are the modulation scheme? As you have studied in the previous semesters, we have ASK, FSK, PSK. In PSK, we have varieties. Okay, that is BPSK, QPSK. These are the things you have studied, and so many other things also. Other modulation schemes are also available. Now, in this, which one is better for my transmission? Okay, which one is better, okay, for my transmission? Now, if I consider ASK is better in few of the forms, like few of the parameters, whereas, okay, yeah, for far distance, when I consider, it may get corrupted due to noise. In such cases, I may opt FSK, whereas FSK is complex. So complexity is also one of the parameter which I need to consider while designing the transmitter. So in this way, there should be some trade off. Then coming to, okay, this ASK, FSK, directly I can tell that either for audio or video we use all these. But when we come to different type of transmissions, we go for higher order of PSKs, that is phase shift keying. Because in phase we have 360 degrees. In that I can divide it into many angles. Okay, presently, if I am not wrong, we are using 256 MRA. Okay, you have studied QPSK, that is quarter. Okay, BPSK we have, that is 2 by. Okay, Q you have, so then we will have 8, then we'll have 16, 32. Okay, 32 array. Okay, so the 32 array means what? For to represent one phase, okay, you are using 32 bits. Okay, is it not complex? Yes, it is highly complex. Then what are the advantages? It is highly accurate, highly accurate. Because anyway, I will show you. We will come across a term called BER, bit error rate. So this bit error rate is the one of the parameter which have to be very low. Low in the sense how much? Okay, presently for like depends on the mode of transmission also. Okay, some of you might have taken this for your project. So in that way, what should be the bit error rate? Okay, 1 in 10 to the power 10 is okay. Okay, I consider that as okay. So that means one error per 10 to the power 10 number of bits transmitted. BER is calculated in that way. Okay, if you tell me 10 to the power minus 14, I'll be still happier. That means what? One error in 10 to the power 14 bits of data sent. One error has occurred in 10 to the power 14 bits transmitted. So bits transmitted, whether it is uh, right bit or a wrong bit, okay, true bit or a false bit, that is secondary. But whatever we have transmitted, in that while receiving, one error has occurred. One error has occurred while receiving. So this is my BER. So that BER calculation have to be like it. We should see to it that that is very very low. So then what else? Okay, the implementation complexity. As you may think now, if to represent one phase, if I'm using 32 bit, next if to represent one phase, if I'm using 64 bit, okay, then how complex it would be, the circuitry would be. Yes, the circuit is very complex. Okay, so whether like how to give the supply and how to troubleshoot if any problem occurs, all these comes into picture. How compact my chip would be. So those are some of the requirements which we need to take care uh, while designing the modulation scheme. Then next one is the data rate and the symbol rate. So this actually everybody knows. If data rate, then actually I would call it as a speed also. Now if you tell that, okay, my speed is 2.5 gbps. What is it? Okay, 2.5 gigabits is transmitted per second. Data rate. Okay, data rate is speed here. In digital modulation scheme, digital communication scheme, we consider it like that, data rate. So then what is a symbol rate? Okay, every time data it like in the sense for one phase, you consider that more suitable example would be my PSK. So consider one phase, if I it is represented by one bit, then actually only two bits are there, 0 and 1. So only two phases I can represent. What if I want to represent many? Then one phase is represented by two bits. That means what? To transmit to transmit one information, I have to send two bits. Next, okay, to represent one phase, I will be sending 4 bits. To represent one phase, I will be sending 8 bits. So these are symbol rate. Okay, to represent one symbol. One phase means one symbol, because one phase represents any one symbol. Okay, to represent one symbol, how many bits I am using, that become one by that becomes the symbol rate. So there is a difference between data rate and symbol rate when we go for the higher order modulation schemes. If you are talking about ASK, FSK and BPSK, my data rate and symbol rate are same. Okay, hope you can make this difference very clear. Okay, data rate is the rate at which, okay, bits are transmitted per second. Symbol rate is also the rate at which one symbol is transmitted. Okay, now in the lower order ASK, FSK and BPSK, the data rate and symbol rate are same, because either 1 or 0, 1 or 0. So I consider it as it like that. But whereas when I consider higher order, okay, that is 8 bit, 32 bit, 16 bit, 256 bit, okay, that time the symbol rate is varied from the data rate. So this we have to take care. What is data rate and what is symbol rate and how much it should be. Okay, my circuitry should be able to handle that speed. Okay, then the expected channel characteristic, that also we need to take care. A second important observation is that power consumption of a modulation scheme depends much more on the symbol rate than on the data rate. Okay, this is see very direct to the directly it is what you call related to the explanation what I've given now. Power consumption is of the modulation scheme depends on the symbol rate. As I said, okay, if I'm going for a symbol rate, I have to use a complex circuitry. So when I'm using a complex circuit, definitely I need more energy, more power requirement is there. So if at all symbol rate is there, then my power consumption is more. If at all symbol rate is equal to data rate, then my power consumption is less. This is what it means. Okay, for high data rates at low symbol rate called M array. Okay, M is any number like it is in the 2 to the power. Okay, 2 array, 4 array, 8 array, 16 array. Okay, so like that we have modulation schemes. Model requires more complex digital and analog circuitry than 2 array modulation. 2 array is nothing but BPSK. Then coming to dynamic modulation scaling, okay, it is possible to determine the optimal scheme for given combination of BR, okay, that is targeted, whatever, range, packet size, etc. Such as optimum is only valid for short time. Okay, because we have discussed a few of the topics, okay, in which was there, range, okay, of the transmission was there, and packet size also was there. So, there should be some trade-off between these parameters. Then I can tell that after after the trade-off, whichever I select the modulation scheme, I tell that as the optimum modulation scheme. Okay, the methods to adopt the modulation scheme to the current situation, okay, is called the dynamic modulation scaling. Okay, next coming to the very important one, that is antenna considerations. Okay, it restricts the size and the number of antennas. Okay, with small sensor node cases, it will be hard to place two antennas with suitable distance to achieve receive diversity. Now, the antenna consideration is not a small parameter. It is a very vast design consideration, okay, in the wireless sensor network transmission. Okay, now why actually antenna has to be given so much of importance? First of all, as I've discussed in the previous class, antenna height. Okay, so antenna height is directly proportional to the wavelength. Now, my wavelength is limited, and moreover, it is like it is all what I can regulated. Okay, that I have to apply for the license and I should get the band. So on this actually I need to work. That time only what I can alter is my antenna height, but I do have limitations for increasing the height of the antenna. So there actually there comes the problem how we are supposed to design. Okay, next thing is always it is easier and direct to go for a line of sight antenna. That is antenna to antenna. In the sense, direct like wave directly it can pass. The receiving antenna directly it can receive. That is line of sight. So if such facility is there, then actually with maximum efficiency, the receiving antenna will receive the signal. But what if it is not there? Okay, non-line of sight, NLOS conditions. Okay, so that time my antenna is somewhere, okay, and there is a transmitting antenna. and the receiving antenna is somewhere else. In between that, we have a huge rock, we have a huge, okay, big buildings. Okay, so many things are there. So it is non line of sight. In that case, wave may take different form. Okay, different form of propagation. It may like reflection, refraction, diffraction, polarization, all it will take place. So it has to be received at the receiver after all those. So how it should be, whether should I submit directly, or should I like take the maximum one, like highest strength signal, or how is it? So that has to be designed carefully. So these are the antenna. And as I have been telling you, antenna transmitter is the one major equipment where uh, power, that the energy consumption, okay, as heat takes place. Okay, so it is utter waste. So it has to be minimized. So how it can be minimized? So this consideration has to be taken. Okay, now uh, okay, coming to the antenna uh, transmission and reception. Okay. Now when antenna based on that, I can tell you how many number of antennas have to be placed, okay, between the transmitter and the receiver. It is not only two, definitely not two. It can be more than two. Okay, and to any number it can be. So how actually it has to be taken? So there comes the concept of fading. Okay, now what is fading? Fading is as the signal transmits in the through the channel, it goes on fading. Okay, it goes on uh, getting corrupted signal. Okay, so then the signal becomes very feeble because it is added with noise. Now as it is propagating, it is added with noise. At one point of time, it reaches below the threshold value. Threshold value is what? It is value where the receiver can receive. At that level, if the signal is, then the receiver can receive the signal, demodulate and get the signal back properly. If the signal level goes below than that, then the receiver is unable to distinguish between noise and the actual signal. There is a threshold. So first of all, we should see how fast, okay, how fast the signal goes on degrading. That is called as fast fading. Yeah, I mean, fast fading is if the signal, okay, per kilometer 30 to 40 dB, if the degradation is there, 30 to 40 dB degradation is there per kilometer, then it is called as fast fading or multipath fading. Okay, fast fading or multipath fading. So in that case, actually we should see to it that how it can be, how we can overcome. There are like many antenna designs which actually cancels out this fading effect. So that is a different side only. Antenna designs we can have, whereas fading can be minimized, or many other transmission techniques can be changed, so that the fading can be minimized, and so on. Now the role of rate, okay, the role of rate, if it is, okay, goes below the threshold level, okay, then we call that as deep fading. Okay, then we call that as deep fading. The receiver, okay, is almost unable to extract the signal from the deep faded received signal. I hope I made it very clear. Okay, fast fading is for 1 kilometer of propagation, if the loss is 30 to 40 dB, then it is fast fading. Okay, so 30 to 40 dB, 30 to 40 dB, it is propagating, but it is getting degraded. Now at the receiver, it is degraded in such a way that it has gone below the threshold level. Okay, rolled off below the threshold level, and the receiver is unable to distinguish between the noise and the signal. Then we consider it as deep faded signal. This deep faded signal is hard to extract the information. Okay, so we should place an antenna before the signal goes to deep faded point. Okay, so before it goes to deep faded degradation, if another antenna is placed, it will receive, okay, it will again process, it will purify the signal, and the, okay, noise free signal, okay, is again transmitted to the air. So it acts like a repeater. Then actually that will be propagated, again fading happens. So all these things are there. Okay, so anyway, you might be thinking the cost. Yes, cost is one of the, as usual, cost is one of the area which we need to consider very seriously. That's why I said it determines, we need to determine how many number of antennas are required for transmission. Okay, so this was about the antenna consideration. Then coming to MAC protocol, that we will discuss in the next class.